Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen, or if you like, Super Dave. We are here to talk about a radioactive a special item today, and that is the mass device Snake Eyes with Polar Bear. And this is going to be a really fun one, and it is going to be the first of 3 videos that we're going to be doing that are going to be absolutely incredible, and it's just going to jump from scale to scale to scale as we go over the next 3 videos. But we're going to start with this awesome video first, and that is the mass device Snake Eyes with the Polar Bear. So because this was a specific, and I would like to also say good morning to everybody in the chat this morning. Hello to Michael Gene Fleming. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Michael Gene Fleming. Thanks for joining us. Good morning. So I wanted to talk about a little bit of the history of this particular idea, this mass device Snake Eyes. There was never a mass device Snake Eyes in the vintage line. That was never a thing in the vintage line. There have been several different variations of the mass device Snake Eyes that have been released over the years since then. There was a 4-inch set. There was a DVD set that they released through Hasbro in the 2000 odds, I would say around 2008 or 9 or so. There was a set that was part of a whole animation series of figures themed around the animation that they did. And Mass Device Snake Eyes was one of those. And he had red hands, and he had like a reddish hue around the mask, and he had the canister, and so on and so forth. And if you got all these figures in all these sets, you could get the Mass Device playset itself, and a little trolley that you could put the canisters on, and Cobras that would carry it, and so forth. And it's a really nice playset. In fact, one of these days I'll show it off. When we maybe I'll pull it out when we get to the divers. I'll pull the whole playset out, and we can talk about the whole mass device playset. So then that was the first one in that idea, that mass device idea. And then Super 7 did another one from Reaction that they released. It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. The glow was a little bit different. It was more bluish, whereas when they released the one this year as part of Reaction Plus, it was more of a red hue, and that's why we have this one. That's the Reaction Plus Snake Eyes, and it glows in a red glow in the dark hue, and it says on the package red glow there. So that is a little bit of a history of the mass device Snake Eyes idea. It obviously came from the very first animated feature film through G.I. Joe and Sunbow, which is Marvel Productions at the time. And the Snake Eyes appeared in that storyline, and he had the canister and the glow hands and the glow around the mask, and so on and so forth. And so that was something that they took from that specific animation series. And they've done that with Sunbow now for years. They've been pulling little things here and there from the Sunbow that were iconic, and that was one of the most iconic things from that series. There was a lot of other interesting things from that series. The Huntsman with all the dogs, and then the divers with the worms, and then them fighting on the volcanic area of the earth and stuff. There was a bunch of fun stuff with that. Obviously, we also had Ramar. We also had I think her name was Rima. Rama. Yeah, Rama and Ramar were the two brother and sisters that were from that as well. And then we have iconic variations of characters that came from the Mass Device, which I showcased CoverGirl a few days ago. That was very distinctive to the Mass Device animation, because I guess they didn't have a toy version of her yet to determine that no, that's not accurate to the toy, and so she was much more Sunbow-esque. And then there are other characters like Major Blood, Baroness, like I said, the divers, and then also Breaker was a Mass Device figure as well, and they did a Target exclusive version of him with the gold volcanic Mass Device element. So they've started this theme now of doing Mass Device figures, and maybe we'll get some more down the road. Some figures that have come out aren't exactly Mass Device because it doesn't have the designations on there. Good morning, New York Knights. Thanks for joining us. Or, yeah, good morning. So like the CoverGirl didn't have the Mass Device insignia on her package, but she should have, I think, personally. And maybe they could have gave her the trolley or something like that. I don't know. I think it would have been interesting. She could have used that for like repair equipment or something like that, and then you could have used it for the Mass Device as well. But then there was another character that was released, which we're going to be getting to soon, that I thought would have been better as a more of an accurate Mass Device version of this character, but they didn't. They went a little bit further to a modern aesthetic with that character. So the Mass Device is a little bit weird with Classified, but this particular Mass Device, Snake Eyes, they included the polar bear with him. Because the polar bear did attack him during that time frame, and it was something that was a threat to Snake Eyes at that point in the Mass Device miniseries. Hello, Terrence Childs. Hi, everyone, from the great state of Maryland. Yay, Maryland. 610 Yojo Daddy. Morning, Super Dave. Morning, fellas. Good morning, 610 Yojo Daddy. Michael Gene Fleming. Good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Yo, Joe. Lady Virgo, thank you for joining us. Good morning, New York Knights. Everybody saying hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining the chat this morning. We're talking about Mass Device, and we're talking about the Weather Dominator. The Mass Device, not the Weather Dominator, with the polar bear. And so this is a very interesting, unique variation of this character that has never been released before. Not only is it the Mass Device Snake Eyes, but it comes with a huge ass polar bear, and that's why I have all these animals here to showcase all the different details and stuff that Hasbro has been doing with animals over the few years. And I love that. I love the fact that they're doing a lot of these animals. Most of these are dogs or four-legged animals, and the bear is a four-legged animal as well. So I brought out some of the animals to showcase on that, to review that bear with us, for us, I should say. All right, let's kind of get into this. So there's that beautiful artwork. You see that bear. He's not very happy with Snake Eyes. He's hungry. He wants him, and that radiation is kind of irritating him. in that, and this is 161 in the classified line. We've made it from 00 Snake Eyes all the ways up to 161 now, and we have also done 22 vintage package figures, and we've done 5 vintage retro and 60th anniversary and legacy figures so far. So we're doing really good. We're getting up there. We're almost finished. Then we have the target artwork on that side and the QR code and the designations. So we're going to check out those designations. We're going to see what they have to say about this particular Mass Device Snake Eyes. Let's see. We have the Covert Ops. We have, I think, Bladed Weapons, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Bladed Weapons. We have the Eye, which is, I believe, Stealth. And then we have the Throwing Star with the face, which I think is Covert Ops, I believe, or some sort of infiltration. Bladed Weapons, Star, Infiltration, Stealth, and Covert Ops is our designations for Snake Eyes. So then we go to the Shooting the Galaxy photography artwork, which has that bear, and the bear is very big. From all the things that I've seen thus far over the last year, this came out last spring, and the bear is huge. We'll get into that in a little while when we open it up. And then some call outs on the package. And then you can see Snake Eyes with the Mass Device element and the glow in the dark hands. And there's a trap there. This is back there. Let's see. We have, oh yeah, there's the huntsman with the dogs way back there. You can barely see it, but it's there. The huntsman with the dogs. He's got 2 dogs. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll do that as classified. They did that as part of the Super 7 reaction line. They did the dogs with the huntsman, and Adam Riches did the packaging artwork on that as well. He's done a lot of figure packaging artwork. He did Sergeant Slaughter, and he did that huntsman with the dogs. And he's done some of the club artwork as well for packaging. All right, so then we're going to go over to this side, and then we have the loadout with the bear and Snake Eyes, and you can see the call out to the Mass Device subgroup, and it says up here Snake Eyes and Polar Bear. So there you go. So we're going to get him out of the package. We're going to see what's in here and kind of compare him to the other versions of him. Get him out. There it is. I see. So there are some things that are attached to the interior of the package. So I'll have to loosen those up. We got the Indicia, Gobbledygook, and Legal. Let me open up these 2 items that are on the package. We have this, which is the trap. So this is the bear trap. There. There. So there's your bear trap. Put that over here for now. And then we have a leg. We have a leg, an extra leg, a bear leg. All right. So we're going to put that over there. We're going to put the package back together, put everything back in there. Then we have the stars and stripes. So the interior, again, G.I. Joe. All right. So then we have the loadout again with everything in there. So we're going to start with Snake Eyes. So right off the bat, I like the fact that it has this more of a purple hue, which is much more animated, a much more animated type hue to it. It's got purple pouches. It's got more of a purple hue to the main uniform, and it's got the pink gloves, and it's got the pink hue in the goggles as well. Excuse me. So there's a very pink-esque hue to everything in this figure. Obviously, the goggles have that pink hue, and the gloves and the hands have the pink hue. But if you look very closely at like the pouches and the pouches on the sides of his legs, they are also purple. He has this is a redeco of the, I believe the it might be slightly different. 610, you can let me know if I'm accurate, but I believe this is a redeco of the retro package Snake Eyes, which is the perfect Snake Eyes for a retro Snake Eyes. And I think this is a redeco of that Snake Eyes, if I'm not mistaken. It's identical. It looks identical to that one. I didn't pull that one out to look at it, but I could probably get it pretty easily if I wanted to. Let's see. Yeah, he's over there. I'm looking at it. Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty close. Looks pretty spot on to that one. He's got two sheaths. He's got one on the left leg for like a knife, and he's got a holster on the right leg for a pistol. And then he has a secondary harness, which has a bunch of the pouches and stuff like that. He's got the normal black boots, army boots. The secondary is got the, like I said before, purple pouches and a lot of black detail on it, and which we've seen that before, probably with Stalker, and we'll probably end up with it on Zap as well, where we get that retro figure. And there's a lot of detail on that going all the ways around, and the figure with the pants and his jacket and stuff. And the face print is really cool with the pink hue, and they have the little rivets in the mask for the breathing and stuff like that. He's got the butterflied shoulders. He's got the double pin elbows. He's got the double pin knees. He's got the foot rocker. He's got the secondary ankle articulation. He's got the thigh, the calf. He's got the crotch and the leg articulation. He's got the ab crunch. He's got the head rocker. He's got the wrist articulation. He does not have the secondary wrist articulation or the bendy wrist articulation. So he's got most of the articulation points except for a couple. But I would say this is a really nice homage to the Sunbow Snake Eyes. It looks really, really nice. Version 1 Sunbow Snake Eyes. Looks very, very good. So then let's see. He's got a lot of different hands for doing sign language, I guess, for timber and other aspects of that story. He uses his hands to give directions, stuff. He's got pink hand there. Oops, I just lost that fist. The other fist just rolled underneath there. I'll have to pick it up later. And then he has the second hand. And it kind of looks like it's glowing in the dark, which I really like. It has that very like glow aspect to it. And then we have the other fist. Doesn't it look like it's glowing in the dark? It looks really interesting. That's everybody's saying hello to everybody. Hello, Clement. Thanks for joining us this morning. New York Knights. I just picked up that Snake Eyes for $55, and I picked up the Hawk with MMS for $65 from the Walmart clearance section a few weeks ago. Very good. I'm glad you're able to get some stuff, New York Knights, from the Walmart clearance. Good job. That's how you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to try to find this stuff cheaper. BJ RM Jaco Bonitson. They need to do the retro Snake Eyes again. Impossible to find. Yeah, the retro Snake Eyes is impossible to find. BJRN. Sorry about that. That's a tough one. I found mine. I got mine from in Europe. So you might be able to go to like a European toy site and you might be able to find it. And yeah, I had to pay a little bit more for shipping because they had to ship it to me, but I was able to get two. Yes, retro Snake Eyes. Yep. Frank Discussion. Thanks for joining. Both of you guys are new in the chat. I don't think I've ever seen either of you in the chat before. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you would like, please share, subscribe, hit the notification, hit the like button and all that good stuff for me, please. It would help the algorithm out. Thank you. Commander Goggle Snake Eyes is the best look in my opinion. Oh, that's perfectly fine. We're going to be getting to that Commando Goggle Snake Eyes very shortly. What's good, all? Hey, Gunpowder Nitro, thanks for joining us again. So let's see. What else do we got? Okay. Then we have a set of regular hands. So this thing comes with tons and tons of stuff. So then we have two gripping regular hands that are normal hands. There. So I'm going to put all of his hands over there. He's got a lot of hands. I'll say that. So then we have the mass device element there. It's red. Very similar to the one for Breaker. So we have both of them now. Red and gold. So we're going to put the Snake Eyes one over here. I'm going to put Breakers back on Breaker. Oops. Fell off. There. All right. So then we also have, this looks like the another canister, a different canister mass device, and it has the pink in there. It's hard to see because it's like a glow type paint and it's very weird and there's lots of detail. So this is almost like a Cobra canister kind of. So we got two different canisters. Then we have, let's see, we have the his guns. So he's got a lot of accessories. So we got the Sunbow rifle, which we've seen this, I believe CoverGirl came with it, and it's been with 4 or 5 other figures, but this one's slightly different. It has silver on it, deco. Looks really nice. I think the deco on these they've been doing with these are really nice, and they look very good. People have wanted this rifle for a while, and we finally started getting 2 or 3 of them. All right, so then we have that knife that goes into his sheath on his left leg. So we have this little teeny knife, which we've seen this little knife before, has some silver deco. So we're going to put it into his leg there. So it goes into that left leg there. And then we also have a revolver. This revolver we've seen before as well, but they put some silver deco on it. So it's slightly different. there. So we're going to put that into the right leg, in that holster on the right leg. There. So there you go. You can see a little bit of that silver poking out on that there. So then we have all the bear parts. So first off, we're going to get the second head out. This is the extra head. This is the bad boy head. It's been coined as the bad boy head. Rawr! Look at all the detail in the mouth and the teeth and everything. It looks really, really gruesome. It looks like he's very angry and he wants to eat something. So I'm guessing that radiation has really bothered him. But why the pink hands? It's because of the radioactivity of the elements. And if you watch the story with that, the cave was radioactive. They had to actually put a shield up, and only Snake Eyes, because he had a complete covering over his body, could stand the radioactivity for a certain amount of time. So he put the shield up. He went in there and he got it out, and he was glowing. So I'm not sure why the hands were glowing and not the rest of him, but just the hands were glowing. I guess because if you think about it, he had skin hands and he didn't have gloves over them, so that's why they were glowing a little bit. And the mask wasn't glowing because he had a mask over his face. We have polar bears here in Norway, but only on Svalbard Island. Oh, Bjorn Jacobonisen. Oh, that's really cool. How close can you get to the polar bears? Do they like get upset? Do they get angry? We got an extra leg, another extra leg for the polar bear. There's some deco on that, slight deco with the claws and some dirt and stuff to give it a more of a 3D pelt type aspect to it. So now we got two legs, we got a head, and then we have this little piece here, which is like a damaged chunk of skin, or I should say a chunk of fur with some arrows sticking out of it there. It's hard to see with the lighting because it's so bright. There. PB11B, hey, good morning. Thanks for joining us today. Super Dave and chat, appreciate it. Let's see. So we'll put that over there. And then we're going to pull out the polar bear. Let's see. Excuse that noise, that package noise. So there's your buck for your polar bear. And there's the good boy head, and he's got some scars on his face. I'm guessing from being attacked by people and fighting for his freedom. He's got a little scar on his head, which I think is like next level, that the fact that they gave him all those details on this good boy head. And then obviously this little part comes out, and then you have like a bloody chunk there missing from him, where you can put the arrows in if you have to. So this little chunk falls out, and then you can replace it with the other one with the arrow. So we're going to try and put the legs on him. Let's see how well that works. Oh, that one went in. You heard that click. So then we're going to put the other leg on. There's the other leg. And it's kind of apropos that we have a polar bear and we're talking about the Arctic in the winter, considering how cold it is right now, right? Isn't that interesting? So I'm going to switch his head as well. I'm going to put the bad boy head on it, but I do want to call out a couple of interesting things. On this head, there's a lot of like detail around the face with dirt and stuff like that. And on this side, he has a let's see if I can get it to show up. He's got a scar across his eye, and his eye is damaged as well as that scar across his nose. And it looks really gruesome with that eye the way it is. I must say, I think they did a really good job with this figure. As much as I want that head on there, I'm going to go with the bad boy head because I want it to be a little bit more ferocious. There. So I put the bad boy head on there. Rawr! Polar bears are not good boys. Just ask the seals. Ah, okay. Thank you. Hello, Gunpowder. So let's see. All right. So we have a couple extra parts. We have the trap, which the trap is a little weird. It kind of falls apart very easily. I may have to figure out a better way to keep that trap together. I'm not sure because it's very flimsy, the trap. It opens up, has some articulation, has the chain and stuff like that you can chain him to something to hold him and everything. Maybe that's why he's a little upset. He gets his foot stuck in that or whatever. Actually, I think it might have been Timber that had his foot stuck in that, which we do have a Timber already. So what do you guys think? Do you think I should put this damaged part, swap it out with the arrows? You think I should leave that one the way it is, or do you think I should use the arrow one? I think I'm going to use the arrow one. I'm going to pull that one off. I'm going to put the one with the arrows. Because that's why he's upset, because he got shot in the side with some arrows, right? There. So I use that bad boy head, and I use the arrows. There. So now he has the arrows sticking out of him, and he's got that, and that's why he's got a bad boy face. There's a lot of articulation with this. Not only does the head move, the neck moves as well on there. And then the legs all have, let's see, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 or 5 articulation points. You can see how far this foot can go up and down and adjust and swivel and do a lot of stuff. So it's got a lot of articulation points in every one of these legs. All the legs have like 4 or 5 articulation points. The waist, he doesn't have anything in the waist, but you can stand him up like this, kind of. I've seen people do that. And he supposedly is supposed to be like 10 feet tall when you stand him up on his hind legs. And if you compare him to the snake eyes there, so he's got about 4 inches on the snake eyes, so he's quite large. So that's why he's able to do a lot of what he's doing there, which is pretty cool, I must say. Now let's see, I want to compare him to Yabo. Or I shouldn't say Yabo, I should say Pork Belly. So you got Pork Belly. Is a warthog. And this is a polar bear, right? I'm fixing him so he looks right. And if you look at the size comparison to that, it is much bigger than the polar bear. The polar bear is to Pork Belly, and he's a very large animal in and of itself, pork belly is, but the polar bear is astronomically huge. They went to town on this. There's no doubt about it. They spent some money making this, and I think it really works because we're getting a lot of the Arctic themed stuff this year. So this is going to fit really well with that. Yeah, you can fit him, stand him on his back legs. Yep, you're right about that. I did that a little while ago. Like that. There. And you can turn him. It's like he's in his own action figure because he can swivel his legs, and his feet also have swivels and everything, and his paws have swivels. So he's like his own action figure. They made like a big bear action figure, really, if you want to think about it. And you can have Snake Eyes fighting him and stuff like that, and trying to stop him. And he's upset that he invaded his cave, and he's wants that element, stuff like that. Looks really good. The only problem is where do I put this polar bear? I got to find a spot in my display, and I got to figure out the best place for it because he's a little bit big. Put Yabo back there. So let's see. We're gonna have Snake Eyes with his rifle as well. I'm gonna put that there, so he has his rifle with him. So that's one less accessory that I have to store away, and then I'll put the element on him, and then I'll put him on his stand. Let me put him on his stand first, and then I'll give him his element. Putting the stand on my figure. And they are tricky sometimes to put the stands on. They don't always go in very well. He's acting up. His stand doesn't want to go in. I'll have to play around with it later. But I wanted to put him on the stand so I could add the element, have him carrying the element, like I did with Breaker. Oops. Ah. This will just put it in front of him for now so I can get it to stand. Then that canister there. So there you go. There's your Snake Eyes and your polar bear with your mass device. Let's see. You can stand him on the back legs. Yep, we saw that. The bear is awesome. Snake Eyes is okay. Well, yeah, because it's a Sunbow deco, you know. Um, and that's what he looked like in the cartoons in that version 1 Snake Eyes. So, I'm all right with it because I know what it goes to. It goes to that Sunbow-esque theme, and we've gotten several other figures from that uh, version, and you can kind of use some of the other um, figures from the OG-13. They kind of go with that as well, like Duke and Scarlet and Breaker and Covergirl and Stalker and Gung Ho. They kind of fit this Sunbow aesthetic there as well. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Um, so I think that's pretty cool. Um, but it's one of those niche things. If you want Sunbow versions of the characters, I was just talking to somebody on a Facebook chat over the last few days about Sunbow and the fact that they uh, Super 7 did a lot of the Sunbow accurate versions. So there are other characters that are much more accurate to their Sunbow aesthetics. Major Blood is one of them. Baroness is one of them. There's several different Cobra Commanders as well. And they did some stuff that was Sunbow that never actually was in Sunbow, like they did Storm Shadow version 2. There was never a Sunbow version of that. And they did the Red Shadows. There was never a Red Shadows in Sunbow either, but they've been doing them all in that aesthetic, and they kind of fit in with these versions of the characters. They're slightly bigger, I would say, because they're more of a 7-inch, but they're like that. I would have liked to have gotten a more Sunbow-esque Major Blood or Baroness in the classified to go with a lot of the other Mass Device stuff, but we may get them this year. Who knows? I don't know. It's one of those interesting things. Maybe we'll get a 2-pack of Baroness and Major Blood Sunbow versions, because the Baroness that came with the dragon, the Rattler, was very, very Sunbow design. If they redecoed that one and made it her colors from the Mass Device miniseries, it'd be pretty close to the aesthetic of the Sunbow Mass Device miniseries. So I think they should do Colonel Shaw and Sparks as a 2-pack, another Mass Device pack. So you could get 2-packs, and you could pretty much finish that Mass Device series, unless they wanted to do like Dr. Burkhart or the other professor or something like that. Maybe they might go farther, but I think those are the only 4 versions of the Mass Device that we would need to continue that theme and that idea for the Mass Device. I think we would be pretty good with that. Then when you get into the Weather Dominator, and I forgot also there's Ramar and Rima. I think Ramar, Rima, this brother and sisters in the arena of sport. So they might be able to do those two. Or you might be able to do like a Cobra Commander when he's skulking out at the end of the miniseries and trying to get away. You could do that as well. So there's other things you could do if you wanted to do Mass Device themed ideas. The Weather Dominator is a different story. There's a lot of other characters that showed up in the Weather Dominator, like Honda Luz shows up in that. There's a lot of like jungle attacks, and there's like a big water kaiju, and then there's another Cobra robot kaiju that's in it, and there's a bunch of different versions of characters in that as well. There's the different clowns and stuff in the circus, and so there's a lot of interesting things with that miniseries that you could do with Zartan and stuff like that as well. if you wanted to do more Sunbow animated stuff, you could do another change Zartan that way as well. The Pyramids of Darkness, I think there's still a lot to be mined out of that. There's obviously Satin and her band, and all of the Snake Eyes and Shipwreck and Timber and their costumes. There's a lot of troops and robots and all kinds of like dead type creatures and stuff from the Pyramids of Darkness. Obviously, the number one thing is the Fatal Fluffies are in that. So there's a lot of stuff from the Pyramids of Darkness that could be mined that we haven't gotten in classified yet. They've been touching on little things from each of these miniseries. And of course, in Arise, Serpentor Arise, we could get the mutagen monster. We could get a whole bunch of different things from that as well. Characters that are in disguise like Zorana and so on and so forth. So I think there's some room in there as well in Arctic. A lot of Arctic gear. And we now have a Lady J and Flint in Arctic gear. Maybe we could get other characters in Arctic gear as well. And that's where Quick Kick shows up, and him and Alpine and Bazooka have to help the Joes in that section, the Arctic section, stuff like that. But there's like all kinds of creepy crawlers in that one as well. Trying to get all the different, and the October Guard show up in that. So you could do a Sunbow design aesthetic for the October Guard. Maybe it might not be as realistic, but at least you would have an October Guard if they did it in Sunbow decos. Because several of those members did become G.I. Joes in the 2000s and the 90s. PB11B, I just want a clutch. Only started this rabbit hole 6 months ago. Not paying $175 for him. Oh my God, you haven't been able to find the clutch with the vamp. That's going to be a tricky one. They're probably going to do another clutch with the Mark II vamp down the road, I would guess. Since we got the Stinger, I'm guessing we're going to get the Mark II clutch. And I don't know if that's close enough for you for the OG13 or not, but yeah, it's going to be tricky to get clutch. I would go to some conventions. You might be able to find him at different conventions cheaper than the $175. But keep working on it. I'm sure you'll get to it at some point at a decent price. Oh, you want the clutch retro? All right, that's a possibility. If they're doing a Wild Bill retro and they're doing a Ripcord retro, I would not be surprised if they did a clutch retro with a slightly different deco, because of the reason the vamp was hard to get. Maybe Hasbro would do that. They've done it with other characters that are hard to get, like they did it with the eels, they did it with the snow serpents, they've done it with other characters. And we also got another Breaker, which was interesting, and another Major Blood, which are both hard to get figures. They did redecos, obviously, for those. But I think that's a possibility. I think you could get another clutch down the road. Will do. Thanks. So yeah, the characters that I think we probably should get in a retro deco would be probably characters like Snow Job, because he's hard to get now. What other characters? Chuckles, maybe. In his movie deco, possibly. That's a difficult one. Trying to think of what other figures that are hard to get. You guys let me know what figures are harder to get in the classified line. I know the Arctic Bat is very difficult to get. So I don't know if they would redo the Arctic Bat somehow, put him with something, and maybe do an MMS, an HMS, an Arctic HMS, and put the Arctic Bat with it. That might be a way to get an Arctic version of the HMS and get a Arctic Bat that way. And then you'd have to pay for it a little bit, but you can get it. Also, the Arctic Storm Shadow is not an easy figure to get as well. So I don't know if he'll ever get re-released. It's interesting, though. We'll have to wait and see on that one because they're doing a lot of Arctic this year. So who knows what they're going to release. Trying to think of other hard to get figures. Obviously, a lot of the Walmart and Target exclusive stuff has been difficult to get, like Parth Varma, Big Ben, Shooter, Mole Rat Stage 1. Who else was with the Walmart? Obviously, Crystal Ball is a harder one to get. So I'm pretty sure they're probably going to redo Crystal Ball. Maybe another year or so, you get a redeco of him. A lot of these figures, so that's a good reason why they probably did this Snake Eyes, because of the retro version of it is so difficult to get. I think if you switch out the hands to the main hands, it's basically the retro version, just a little bit Sunbow-ish. So I think it could fit in with the OG-13. I know you guys want the really military looking versions of it, but it's tricky. It's a tricky thing. Everybody's play pattern, everybody's collecting ability is slightly different, and so we collect the way we want and everything. So trying to get all this stuff, and the fact that they're numbering a lot of it is very difficult. That's why I recommend a lot of people go with the retro carded line, because I think it's easier, it's more manageable. There's only like maybe 30 of those, and there'll be a few more released this year, but I think it's more manageable. PB11B, if you need to a Big Ben, just got one on Amazon for 38 bucks. That's pretty good. That's a little bit more than the Walmart, but still that's very reasonable. Ripcord with his OG camo is a must. One of my favorite as a kid. Yeah, he's one of my favorites as well. Bajorn Jacko Benetian. And I know if they did Crazy Legs, they're doing Wild Bill, then Ripcord is coming as well. There's no fooling around with that. They're going to do that version. Whether they do it as a retro card is a question, because they're messing around with a lot of this stuff. And like they just showed that render of Airtight, which is spot on to retro, his vintage version, but it's going to be in the main line. So that's one of those weird things. Like, I just don't know why the choices they're making for retro and why the choices they're making for the main line. Anything that's classified up much more detailed, upgraded, makes sense for the main line. But when you go with stuff like Airtight that looks almost identical to his retro, why not put him in the retro? It doesn't make sense. It's very confusing to me. But one of these days we'll have a chance to talk to them and we'll ask them about it and we'll see what they have to say. I'm hoping they come to MegaCon here in Florida this year, and there's some cool stuff coming out that they can show off at MegaCon. We'll see. Crunchyroll Crow, it's okay. You can watch it in the replay crew again. It's okay. It's not a big deal. We did cover the polar bear. Give you guys a special voice a voice sound for the polar bear for you guys. Funny. Airtight have kneecaps now. That's new, and a handgun. The handgun was on the vintage figure. It's just now it's loose. That's the only thing. Yeah, and the knee pads are the only new parts. And maybe the deco might be a little bit different. I have to wait till I get the figure in hand, or I see a more in-hand sample of it, because I do believe it's going to be slightly more subdued. The lighting on that render looks very bright, though. So we're gonna have to hold off on that until we get it in hand. So you could be right about that, Bajorn. This is the first time I've seen you not wearing some sort of a Joe or Cobra attire, you madman. Well, I wore this pink hoodie and the white hat because I wanted to look like I was radioactive, kind of like a radioactive Snake Eyes and the Snake Eyes and Polar Bear. So I was theming my costume to be more like that. And if you look at Snake Eyes in front of me, it kind of looks like he's kind of radioactive a little bit that way. So I was trying to do something fun with it. I don't know if I pulled that off or not, Crusty Old Crow, but maybe. Hello, Crow. Loving your diorama builds, bud. Oh yeah, Krusty does some really good diorama stuff. So yeah, that's why I went with this color. Dude, that set is phenomenal. I was playing with the polar bear last night. You were? Because of my video? Crow. It's really interesting, I've got to say, because there's a lot of detail in this. Like there's some like deco on the back to make it look like he's a little dirty. You can hardly see it with the lighting. And then also on the legs, there's some deco on it, and on the undercarriage of the bear. And they did the black paws and there's the red and the teeth and all the color in the face and stuff like that. They really did a lot with this. When they said that they're going after Schleich or competing with Schleich, I thought they were just kidding. But look at the detail on that bloody chunk that comes out of there. They really put a lot of effort into this. And I'm not kidding. This is interesting. For a unique release, something that we really didn't need, they went to town and gave us a lot with that. I've got to say, it wasn't necessary, but they did it. Cheers, bud. Hi, everybody saying hi to everybody. The chat. My daughter's boyfriend has started collecting classified, and he wants that set bad. So we had it out messing with it. Oh, okay. Go to the Walmarts. I think it's been seen at Walmart's. Let's see. Christopher Crow says that bear is going to be more and more sought after as this year's releases progress. So many winter sets coming to make you want it more, regardless of if you like the Snake Eyes. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep, you're right, 100%, Crusty Old Crow. With all the Arctic stuff, by the end of this year, once we get the Arctic Assault Hiss with the Hiss driver, the Arctic Assault team with the Steel Core and the Arctic Saw Viper and the Drift Viper, and then we get the Snowcat with Frostbite, Flint in Arctic, and Lady J in Arctic. And then if you have all the other ones, the Storm Shadow Arctic, the Arctic Bat, this Snake Eyes with the Polar Bear, Snow Job, Snow Serpent version 1, Snow Serpent version 2, possibly Iceberg will be out this year sometime. Yeah, so there's going to be a really nice diorama with all that included for those guys that do those diorama sets and really go to town on that Arctic theme. There's going to be some beautiful dioramas. I agree with you. Oops, sorry. 610 Yojo Daddy sounds like she may have chosen a good one. Yep, there you go. Firefly. What about Firefly? Arctic Bats. Yep. So there's a lot of Arctic. So eventually we'll get the Battle Polar Bear with somebody. We'll also get Stalker with his kayak. We may get Blizzard down the road. We may get a bunch of other stuff. We may even get the Arctic team. There was an Arctic team that was released. Firefly would go good in Arctic team. Yeah, maybe the first Firefly that's a lot more bulkier, has a lot more gear on him. He looks like he might be much more fitting of an Arctic version. I don't think the second version, the mainline version, would fit that well. And there's some sort of rumor that there's a third Firefly coming as a retro carded Firefly, which I don't know why they would do that. I don't think we need another retro Firefly. If they're going to do another Firefly, it's got to be version 2 Firefly, in my opinion. Gunpowder Nitro, I agree 100%. Yeah, I think this the first Firefly, that bulkier one, would really fit well. I think it would be interesting if they did one of the movie Fireflies that came with the motorcycle, and the motorcycle like all broke apart with all the missiles and all the bombs and everything, and it was more of a like a greenish type of Firefly with a really interesting motorcycle. Maybe that way you can get the Silver Mirage, and you could also give it to a different Firefly with all those missiles and everything. That might be a way to redeco that Silver Mirage. Oh yeah, Quick Kick, Barefoot in the Arctic as well, and Alpine, and if we ever get an Arctic Bazooka, yeah, you're right. Those two would fit well with that cadre or squad as well. The Storm Shadow with the winter camo pattern would look sick too. Oh yeah, he's a very nice figure. They did a good job with him. He was not supposed to be a mainline classified figure. He was originally going to be fitting into the movie Snake Eyes movie line, and it didn't work out. So they redecoed it and they changed it and they turned it into an Arctic Storm Shadow instead. He is a pretty good one. I still don't like him. Which one? Oh, the Firefly with the motorcycle from the movie. What's up, Dave and everybody? Hey, St. Tum-Tars. We're just talking Arctic themes and the Mastiff Ice, Snake Eyes, and Polar Bear and animals and stuff like that. I love this polar bear, I've got to say. Let's see. You really want a Arctic Shadow Tracker. That's perfect season second issue for him. Hey, that would be interesting. A Shadow Tracker Arctic. I agree with you. Hey, Shane. Everybody's saying hello. I have mixed on the movies, but Ray Stevens as Firefly was one of the definitive highlights. Definitely, I think he did a really good job, and I like that like Cajun accent that he gave him, and he just never gave up. Even though he kept getting defeated, he kept going after them, and I love that about him. I'm very sad that he passed on last year. And now we're not going to get him in Ahsoka season 2. We got somebody else taking his place. Morning, Super Dave. Morning, all. Hey, HK Viper. So a little bit of information about the animals. What type of animals do you think we could get now that we get this polar bear? There's nothing off the table when it comes to animals. I think we possibly will be getting the Bobcat with Dusty. I think it's Dusty version 2, and then Sandstorm and Max as well. I can't remember which one's got the Bobcat, which one's got the other cat. But they both got different cats. And everybody's saying hello to everybody in the chat. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get both of those. I'm sure we're going to get Voltar with his vulture. There's that rumor of that raptor with the Raptor Master. We all already saw that the Hydra Viper is coming with the Manta Ray. What other animals are possible in the G.I. Joe classified line? I would like to hear you guys' thoughts. A character that I would like to get is Link Talbot, which was a zookeeper in the modern era, 2000s, around Valor vs. Venom Spy Troops. Link Talbot was a really cool character, and I would like them to do a set with a bunch of different animals. Maybe give him a cheetah, maybe give him a gorilla, maybe give him a different kind of monkey from Yabo, and really do him up with some really cool stuff. HasLab Kraken, huh? Now that would be kind of cool. That would be cool. What would put with the Kraken though? A submarine of some sort, Grizzly for reuse next year, somehow, some way, or a ghost bear a la crystal ball. Oh, that's a good, interesting thing. You're trying to use the gyre technology and do some interesting stuff with that, some ghosts and monsters and things like that. I think that's actually not a bad idea. I think you could do it with Yabo. You could do a green Yabo monkey, and you could do some other stuff too. Birds, maybe, that would work very well with the gyre technology. That would be sick, Crow. Yep, sick. I want a hyena and a baboon. There you go. That's maybe something that we could get with a poacher, kind of like um, the dreadnought poacher Nagahide. Yeah, that would actually be very cool. I think Crucio Crow. Looks like we're getting Spearhead and Max. The small sword on Zartan is a dead on. Yep, Spearhead Max sword, and possibly as an animal companion. We haven't got the Mutton Junkyard Slaughters Marauder either, so that's something that could be coming. After that giant scorpion, I'm disappointed in the manta ray with the Hydra Viper. Yeah, seems like a lot of people are. I'm thinking that that's just a render. Maybe if we see it in person when they showcase the figure and stuff at New York Comic Con or New York Toy Fair, maybe they'll show that the wings are articulated, the tails are articulated, or something like that to give it a little bit of movement. I hope. I'm praying on that, crossing my fingers. They give it a little bit of articulation, and we just don't see it on that render. Same time toys. But I think that's a good point with the scorpion, the giant robotic scorpion. What other robotic animals are possible? We're going to get that barracuda, the robot barracuda, possibly. I'm trying to think of other robotic animals that they've had over the years. And the fact that maybe Venomous Maximus could come out with a hawk changing into Venomous Maximus, two figure set with that transformation chamber, and then Link Talbot with a bunch of animals would really be fun, I think. Shouldn't we be expecting some sort of a giant eels, since the mass devices had them, and they are knotted to a torpedo and eels packaging? Yeah, we ended up getting the divers, and I think the divers have the worms with them. I'll be going over the divers very shortly, so hold on for that. We'll talk about those worms in a little while. Crusty Crow. Sometime Toys Crow. Hell yeah, bring on the tube worms. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get the big ones though. I think we got little ones in a little container or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, with the divers, the ketchup and mustard mass device divers that was exclusive to Target. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go and check those out. Actually, I do have the divers over here, so I could check it out pretty easily. Let's see. There they are, right there. Oops. Nope, they fell over. They fell over, so I can't get them right now. No worms with divers, Christio Crow. Okay. Etsy. You can get it on Etsy, Michael Gene Fleming says. The Baroness Scuba Pod would be awesome. Oh, yeah, that is interesting. You're right about that. That might be a way to do your retro Baroness or something like that. Jeremy Bonavides, hello. I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Thanks for joining us again. We're just talking about a bunch of fun stuff. We just opened up the polar bear with the snake eyes set, and we're talking about Arctic stuff. We're talking about animals. We're talking about some fun things that could be possible with the classified line in the animal and the Arctic and so on and so forth. Yep. So I don't know. Another Another item that was part of the Arctic in the Sunbow was the snake armor, where you had them in the wall of the mountain and they turn around and they're in disguise. So that's another Arctic item that you could include in your play sets and your dioramas as well, if you wanted to do that. So there's a lot of Arctic stuff. So you could do a really large Arctic diorama if you're really inclined to do that, or if you have the inclination to really make that look really awesome. And, with all the Christmas stuff, you could easily buy a lot of snow and trees with Arctic stuff all over the trees, and different jungle stuff, and fences with snow. Do something really nice with that. I look forward to seeing a lot of your guys's uh, ideas when that all that stuff starts coming in. Dave, when is your toy show again? My toy show is April 19th in Deltona, Florida, Central Florida. It's the Senflo Joe show on April 19th. And our main guest is Mark Pennington. And we will also have Adam Riches, Matt LaCroix, Hawk Stevens, or Hawk Sanders, not Stevens, Hawk Sanders, Jason Mark Sobel, Roger Taft will all be guests. And we will have a Joe Fest booth. I will also have a booth. So if you're inclined and you're in the Florida area or the southern Alabama, southern Georgia area, and you would like to go to a really cool G.I. Joe event with lots of cool Joe Bros and like-minded individuals and lots of cool guests and booths, tons of vintage toys, all across the gambit of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and maybe some modern stuff as well. Then please join me at the Senflo Joe Show, April 19th in April in Central Florida. Thank you very much for bringing that up, PB11B. I appreciate it. 610, what's good, brother? PB Facebook group for show. The show is the Senflo Joe Show Facebook group. There's also a event page, Senflo Joe Show event page as well. If you want to get a vendor space, we have a few vendor spaces left. We're almost sold out. I can't wait. I'll definitely be there. Cool, Same Time Toys. I look forward to seeing you and hanging out and enjoying all this G.I. Joe stuff with you. I'm going to try to turn this into like a more Southern Joe Fest, as like a sister show to Joe Fest, because Joe is one of our sponsors, and they're going to have a booth at the show, and Ed Schumacher, the head of Joe Fest, will be there as well. So come support the show, help us grow the show. I would like to make it bigger and better for everyone that is a G.I. Joe fan, and you can come down to Florida and have a really good time. Do you still need G.I. Joe comic books? Jeremy Bonavides. Me? No, I don't need any. I have all the G.I. Joe comic books. The only G.I. Joe comics that I'm looking for is the Blackthorn activity comics. There's a 3 or 4 issue miniseries by Blackthorn. That's activities. There's like puzzles and all kinds of coloring and stuff in it in each issue. That's the only 4 issue miniseries I'm missing. Sounds like a fun show. Maybe can fit it in while visiting from family in Miami. HK Viper. Wow, thank you very much. That would be great. I would love to see you. Can you spell out show name? My hearing blows. Okay, so Senflo Joe Show. So it's CEN as in Central Florida, Flow, Florida, FLO, Joe, JOE, Show, SHOW. Senflo Joe Show. And for all of our information, it is the Senflo Joe Show at yahoo.com. So there's all the information. Let's see if we can get that up there for you guys. You can see the website at the bottom there. I should really put this all in the description. Can you see that? SendFlowJoeShow@yahoo.com. There you go. It's the center at Deltona. The Energon comics are amazing. Oh, yeah, they are. SendFlow Joe Show. That's correct. I can only do one trip to the States per year, Joe Fest. Otherwise, I'd be headed to Florida to check it out. Oh, that's a shame, Crystal Crow. I wish you could make it longer. Yeah, because it's like 2 months away. It's like the middle of April and Joe Fest the end of June. I didn't want to be on top of Joe Fest. I didn't want to be on top of DFW, and I didn't want to be on top of Joe Lanta. So it's like further away. It's like 3 or 4 weeks away from Jolanta. It's about a month and a half away from DFW and 2.5 months away from Joe Fest. So it's tricky to find a date that fits for all that. And Easter's also in April. So I didn't want to be on Easter weekend either. So it's difficult. It was difficult trying to find a date. But I look forward to seeing you at Joe Fest anyway, Crusty Crow. Thank you very much. Got it. Thank you. Shane Crow, everybody saying hello to everybody. Crow in flow would be amazing. Yeah, it would. HK, yeah. Sunflow Joe Show. There you go. That's it. So I really want this to be successful, and so the more we get it, the word of mouth out there. I'm sharing it on a bunch of socials and stuff, and I'm sharing it on here. But there's only so many people that watch these videos, so I'm not sure how far that reach is. But I want it to be more successful than it could be. So the more people that go to it, the better off it is. Then we can do another one next year and another one, and we can grow it. I plan on the event center that I'm in has a bigger room. I'm only using half the room, so I can grow it next year to the full room. We can get more vendors and more guests next year. And then I have plans to grow it even farther and to make it into a show where there's a hotel and we can get it multiple days. But we have to start from someplace. So this is our first one. So the more we publicize it, the more we promote it, the more we spread it around and showcase it, the more people come, buy tickets, buy stuff from the vendors, enjoy all the guests there, go see Mark Pennington, go see Adam Riches, go see Jason Mark Sobel. And there's an exclusive figure that is exclusive to the Senflow Joe Show. It'll be an O-ring figure that will only be at the Senflow Joe Show. We have not revealed what that figure is, but it's a cool martial arts type character that will be perfect for your G.I. Joe line. Fits in fantastic. I already know what it is. Matt LaCroix has already done it from Strike Force Alpha, and I look forward to you guys coming and trying to get that figure because it should be totally awesome. Dave, got my contact info from Woo, and we'll talk up the show on Smokin' Joe's. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. The more we can do it, the better for the show, because I really want to have a really nice experience from Woody. Oh, great. Thank you very much. Same Time Toys as well. I need to contact Woody about having you come on the show as well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, like I said at the beginning of this video, we are ramping up for 3 huge videos in a row. This is our first one with the Polar Bear and Snake Eyes. Our next one is a item that I was, thankfully I got through a fellow collector on my channel. Crusty Crow helped me get this particular item, thankfully, and he He's been fantastic helping me get it. That's our next video, and it is a huge item. And then the next video after that is an even huger video, and it's going to be I don't want to give it away, but it's going to be something awesome. Dude stuff. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Woody and Shane has a good show. Yeah, I want to. Maybe one of these days they'll let me join them on their show as a guest. I'm gonna try and get sometime toys on my show. Maybe it was Lone Dragon. I apologize. It wasn't Crystal Crow. Maybe it was Lone Dragon that helped me. Sometimes I get mixed up. It was Lone Dragon that helped me get this particular item. I'm sorry. Wrong person, Crystal Crow. Hello, Same Time Toys. Everybody's saying hello. I get mixed up sometimes about things. There's so much information going on in this head. It's hard to keep track of it all. But yeah, so that'll be tomorrow's video, and we will talk about that. Backyard Battlefield would love to have you on too. Just saying. Oh yeah? Well, let them know to contact me. I'd be glad to join anybody on any of their shows. Do they follow the show? Do they like the show? Have they said something about me? I don't know. Do I know who they are? I know the YouTube channel. I've heard of it, but I'm not sure who they are. It's even worse when you do keep track of it all. Trust me, I know. Oh my God. Yeah. So, all right. So our next video is going to be a huge video. So I hope you guys can join me with that. And it's been something I've been looking forward to opening up for quite a while, because I've seen other people open it up, and I've been another one of these videos this year that I've been salivating, trying to get to because it's so cool. This is 2025. A lot of these releases from 2025 were phenomenal things for the classified line. They really outdid themselves last year, and this year they really got a lot of work to try and outdo last year. So far, based on what I've seen, the pre-orders that we've gotten and some of the stuff that we've got renders, I'm not that impressed this year. So I hope they really hit us with a lot of cool stuff at New York Toy Fair, and then Yojo June. Crow is half of the battlefield. Ah, okay. I gotcha. All right, so what else? We covered the convention. We covered our next item. I think that is going to do it for this episode. Do you guys have anything else you want to ask, or any more details about possible animals or Arctic themes, or how Classified is doing thus far this year, and possible releases for New York Toy Fair? Anything that you guys want to add? We got a couple more minutes if you want to talk a little bit more. But I'm going to leave it in your hands if you have something else you'd like to say. I wish they had given this Snake Eyes good show. I appreciate it. It really means a lot to me when you guys are joining me for these conversations, adding to the chat, and adding to each of the figure deep dives, and adding some information to it to help me, because I don't know everything. I try to keep up on as much as I possibly can, but you guys are part of this, and it, like I've said before, it's like hanging out with all my friends when I was a young kid, and just chatting and just having fun and enjoying this brand, and getting out of the real world and getting out of all the negativity. This is a positive space, and we want to maintain that energy here and just enjoy toys. That's what this is. It's toys, talking about toys, enjoying toys. So it should be fun. It should be enjoyable. No negativity, no bad vibes here. So thank you guys. It means a lot to me that you come here every day and you join me on these videos and you talk and you add to this because it keeps me sane. It keeps me energized. It keeps me out of the negative spaces. So I love that, and I love you all you guys. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate everybody after the fact as well joining in on the replay crew. You guys are phenomenal on there. It helps the algorithm. So if you can share these videos, like, share, subscribe. I know it's a little bit cliche, but I have to say it. Share these videos is the number one thing you can do to help this channel grow and to spread the word for the channel. And you know the positive energy that I have and stuff like that. And so I want to keep this going as long as I can. We've been doing really good. We should be doing a comic book burst coming up soon episode. And I would like to do some fun episodes with the unproduced GI Joes that have never been released before, and stuff that was very close to being released that Dan has documented in his series of books, Creating GI Joe, A Real American Hero, The History by Dan Klingensmith Jr. So there's the comprehensive history on the creation of the GI Joe toy brand and unproduced items. And then the second one, comprehensive history of the creation of the GI Joe brand, things that were very close to being released but didn't get that. They even have packages and so on, and a lot of artwork and stuff. So I really want to get into that series after we finish with the classified reviews. We will always do classified reviews after the main ones that have already been released. I've gone through all that because there's going to constantly be new ones. So I'll do new ones when we get new items. So it'll continue, but we'll have other stuff in between, and it'll be the unproduced and the cool unreleased items. And we will be going into a lot of that stuff as we go, and we'll continue with comic bursts and news bursts when we get new information and so on and so forth. So we'll continue growing the channel, and hopefully you guys will still be involved. The show every day. Keep moving forward. Thank you very much. Same time, Toys. I really appreciate that. Those books by Dan are effing amazing. Yeah, they are. I highly recommend for anybody that is a completist GI Joe collector that wants to know as much information about GI Joe as possible. 15 volumes Dan did, and there's some sneaky little add-ons with file cards that were never produced, a Zartan file card and some Night Force file cards and some other stuff that were in each of those volumes as well. So there's a lot of added stuff, and there's dust jackets that he put in there as well, bookcases. So there's a lot of really cool stuff with that. I think he's completely sold out of sets, but he does have a bunch of random additions, and one of these days I'm going to have him come to Florida as a guest to my show. Maybe next year we'll have him come as a guest, and you guys can bring your books and get signed by him for the next year. If the 2026 show is successful, maybe 2027 we can get him to come. I would love to. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's a sponsor of this show by me using his books on a lot of these episodes. All right, I think that's going to do it. Thank you again, everybody. I really appreciate it. This is a really big GI Joe video, so we're going to go with Yo Joe. See you next time.